to the bottom of it with your host, Joshua Moriarty.
Hello, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to the bottom of it with me, your host, Joshua Moriarty. How you doing? How you listening? What are you doing out there? Walking? I always go for my podcast listening time is a walk around the Silver Lake Reservoir in LA, which is quite fun. I haven't actually recommended anyone else's podcast so far because I like to think I'm the only person in the world who's doing that, but it turns out there's actually quite a few other people making podcasts as well. So if you want to check one out, there's a guy named Adam Buxton, and my brother put me on to that. He is pretty cool. He's an English comedian. He seems to talk to a lot of other comedy people, but he's had Wes Anderson, he's had Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead, he's had all sorts of people. They're just very entertaining. He's quite self-effacing. I enjoy his style very much. So if you're not listening to my podcast, which you should be obviously all the time, just be following me, you're allowed to also check out Adam Buxton. What's new in Joshua Moriarty land? Well, so yeah, there's new Miami horror stuff happening at the moment. Benjamin Plant, head horror, has been working his ass off around the clock getting that stuff together. I've been checking in with him, doing a few shifts here and there, doing some work with him. But you know, he's kind of driving the ship there. Sometimes you got to let Ben just take things into his own mind, into his own computer, and chip away at him that way. I've been working on the All the Colors new album. We're getting the mixes done for Volume 3 at the moment. They're coming in, they're sounding hot. I'm pretty excited about that. It's still a little while away before we get that finished, but you know, you can expect to hear something within the next month. I think we're going to have the first single out, which is exciting. Looking forward to that. And I think we're going to have a new Miami horror single out because we've got some shows in Australia in November. So things are coming. I feel like everyone's been laying dormant for a while, but we are working, everybody. There's more music in every direction coming at you, so just hold your horses. Anyway, that's enough about me. I feel like if I talk any more than sort of 2 or 3 minutes about what I've been up to on this podcast, I'm turning into Mark Maron. And like I've said this before, we love you, Mark. We think you're great, mate. Do awesome interviews, but you don't need to tell everyone 10 minutes at the start about what you're doing. They're not there for you, really, I don't think. Anyway. I don't know if he's ever going to hear this. He's probably too busy recording 20 podcasts today. So anyway, enough about Maron. Today's guest is Benjamin Booker. He's an artist I've known for a few years now. We put a Christmas benefit together at the end of last year, myself and my friend Moriarty. Well, she kind of did most of it. I kind of just pretended that I was helping. And he sung a song for the Christmas benefit. He did I Wish It Was Christmas Today, which is from Saturday Night Live, which Julian Casablancas does a version of, and he was excellent. It was really fun to work with him. He's got an album called Witness that he put out last year, and it's brilliant. I think you should check it out, but, you know, listen to the podcast first. Don't go checking that out yet. You got I think we talked for quite some time, so, you know, you better get yourself ready for some solid listening. Hey, what did we talk about? We talked about Scarlett Johansson attending marches, people using Instagram to make themselves look cool at some of these marches. We talked about the Crazies gang of Echo Park. I don't know if we have any Crazies gang members listening to this, but if you do, we're cool apparently. We've been okayed by one of the members of the Crazies. We talked about being slightly jealous of Mac Demarco and lots more stuff. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Benjamin Booker. Enjoy. Mm-hmm. It's always kind of going towards something, right?
That's what I mean, exactly, yeah. That's why I don't beat myself up for it, but I mean, you just gotta stay on task, you know.
And what do you have? Are you having to write a new album, or you can still be promoting your second one? Didn't even come out that long ago, did it?
No, but I am working on a new one.
Always?
Always. Well, right now specifically, yeah. Well, I'm trying to get into like a different schedule of just like my own like touring schedule, where like I like to I want to be able to like have time to write and then put out albums, maybe tour for like 5 months or so, do the rounds, and then come home, you know, and not just be like out for years and years and years.
That's sort of the dream. That's what old people do.
It is, but you can do it when you're younger. But I think you just have to be smart. Like I write everything, so that makes it easier to do. I don't live like extravagantly, and then you just you do some jobs also that you're just like yeah, that's for money, so I can just like take time and write. You know.
I think it's setting your life routine, like without just your day-to-day routine, setting the year routine, where every second year you go on tour. Yeah. This country, this place. Yeah. And then you come back, you've got a year to write your new album, then you record it, then you go back on the road.
But I know now that I don't want to do, like, I know people who tour for 3-5 years, and you're just like, no, I can't. I know that me personally, I can't live like that.
Are they always doing that, though? Or is it like at the beginning?
I think it's when you hit if you have like it depends on the record. I think it's usually like when you have a good record and you're rolling, they just keep...
You just got to keep going.
Like the first record that I had, I had also told them, I was like, if you have a show, like I'll play it. Like I was just like, you book it and like I'll be there. And we just 2 years of nonstop, like hardly any breaks.
That moment is really important, and it sort of
have to do it.
It cements you a little bit. Yeah. Then you kind of go back and follow up.
Also, I didn't have any money either, so it's just like you're like, thank you, please.
Yeah,
yeah.
You may as well keep going.
Great. Yeah.
Young and hungry. We did that with Miami Horror for the first 2 or 3 years.
Just straight.
Just crazy, yeah. Just going.
And that's hard because you weren't here, probably, right?
We were all in Australia at the time, so we did a lot in Australia. We did a few tours of the States, maybe a Europe tour, quite a lot of South America. But it set us up, and since then we've been pretty lazy, and people still turn up to come and watch us.
Damn. Yeah, I am surprised, I guess, like when we go to cities, like how I think it is still from that like first couple years of touring and opening up for other people and stuff. Because like even if it's, I mean, sometimes like you're always just like, damn, I hope it's just like completely sold out in every city. But even if it's not sold out, and it's a couple hundred people in the city, you're just like, damn.
That's pretty good.
There's a couple hundred people here.
Yeah, I know.
What? You just have to remind yourself, you're like, that's crazy. Like,
yes.
It is crazy.
It is crazy. I've always, that's like a...
But you have to work to get there, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess, but the other thing is you've just kind of... The only thing you can do is make music that you love and you believe in. Mm-hmm. Do as much as you can to promote it, and then the rest is just whether people actually like it or not.
Yeah.
More so than like it, whether it just resonates. Because it might be the wrong time for your style, or you're just not...
Yeah.
Like, there's people who are just as true to themselves as, say, like someone like Kevin from Tame Impala. His music just resonated on a more global scale at a particular time. But there's equally as good artists probably doing stuff that they really believe in that are nowhere near as popular.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Kevin, though...
he's a freak, though. There's something magical about his music.
He's like a magical dude.
I feel like in every interview that I do, he comes up and everyone agrees that he's just really special.
Everyone loves him, yeah. And I think that even for like a little bit, I was kind of just like, this guy, like, come on, guy. Like,
you didn't want to buy it?
But you can't deny it. It's undeniable.
Yeah.
Well, just because like anytime that anybody builds somebody up that much, you're just like, instinctively maybe just want to tear them down. But yeah, you can't. It's great. It's great music.
It takes me a lot. Well, it took me till Lana Del Rey's third album before I was willing to pay any attention.
Right.
And then I heard a song and I loved it, and then I was suddenly like, all right, I see what's going on here.
She doesn't seem like a phony to me.
I don't think she's a phony at all.
No.
But I think there were people saying that she was a phony at the start because she changed.
Because she's a woman and she looks like that. That's
that's definitely.
It doesn't really have to do with anything else.
But then they scratched the surface and they went, oh, well, she used to sound like this, and now she's changed style. Like, so what?
She was like a jazz person, I guess.
Maybe they said she was trying to be a pop star, like a ordinary, mainstream one. But who fucking cares, right? Why can't you change the style? And then there was...
Well, that's what happened with Tame Impala, you know? They changed... A lot of people were angry.
But did people criticize him for it?
Yeah, people hated the third album that they had.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
because it wasn't.
But it's also their biggest album.
Yeah, and it's just as great as anything else, though. It's just a...
Yeah, I know, but people are like that. They don't understand. I think that if you really love music, like me and you don't care, but like, because you know that people grow and the music grows with them. But,
yes, of course.
But a lot of people who just like listen to music are just like, fuck that person. You know what I mean? Like, this is why I loved you, and I feel betrayed now that you drink.
Yeah, but I reckon it must be nice to have people that really hate what you do, because that means they really loved what you did.
It's true. That's
To inspire that sort of fanaticism that they will actually get that upset.
That's something that I think about
them.
too. Yeah, because I mean, like occasionally, yeah, because the show that I had now is so different than last time, mostly because I'm not just like super wasted and just like being crazy.
How's that going?
But do
you feel better at performing? It's really nice.
It's so much better.
I find it so much better.
It's so much better. I won't go back. I mean, like, it doesn't make sense to go back.
No.
But yeah, I mean, people, I don't know. I guess I just realized that it was just like a way different experience for people back then, and they like really liked the just like crazy energy kind of thing.
Sure, okay.
And it's just like
so you're having to either change how the old fans feel about you or find new ones.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both things happen.
Have you noticed how, so are you all kind of done for the second album tour at the moment?
No, I'm heading out tomorrow to
Sam
Milwaukee, and then I'm going to come back for a day. I'm going to Canada after that, and then I'm going to the UK to open for Mavis Staples.
Wow.
Yeah.
She sung on your album. I didn't know that. Is that right?
Yeah.
She sings Witness with you. That song's really great.
Oh, thanks.
Well, I hadn't really listened to, it's kind of like your stuff had been peripheral, but then I gave it the proper, like, sit down, listen.
I honestly hardly ever listen to people I know. It's like really, is it weird for you? It's a weird thing for me. I usually don't do it.
I've been the same, I think. But a lot of the people I know, I'm starting to interview, and so you got to put the time in.
Yeah.
And it sounds great. It's really, really good. I really like what you do.
Thank you. The second album was very different, and it has like kind of started me on like a whole different musical thing. Just because the people that I was working with and the musicians and stuff, it was just like a very different thing than the first one.
Where did you do it again? In New York?
In New York, yeah. In Woodstock and in Brooklyn.
Yeah, okay. And who produced this one?
This guy, Sam Cohen. He did a record by this guy, Kevin Morby.
Okay,
this guy
I don't know that
and
one.
And then, yeah, that record was great. He had a record called Singing Soul that I loved. I just listened to it, and you could just tell that the guy who made it could do anything. Like, you know, he had a knowledge of music.
It sounds...
And he was like a geared guy. You could tell just from listening. At 30 seconds in, I was like, this guy.
Yeah,
like,
this is gonna work.
And so yeah, I did it with him, but like he brought in it was the first time like he had brought in his own musicians who were like the most ridiculous people.
Oh right, so you didn't have guys from your band.
No, it was
you and him and whoever he.
It was a lot of it was just me and him, but like Witness is a song that it was just like me and him recording together.
Who's on the tubs?
Him.
He's on the tubs.
And guitar and bass. He played everything on that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, we were there one day, just like we were supposed to be doing like pre-production, and like we had an extra day just working on the songs, trying to edit them down before we recorded. And he was like, "Why don't we just try that song?" Because we weren't gonna record that song at first. And he was the only person there, so yeah, he just played everything, and then I just like sang it, and ended up being the first song that we recorded.
Wow!
So it was cool because it was different. It was like so different than the first album that I think it made it easier to try new things later. You know what I mean? For the rest of the time, it was just like, well, we've already like gone way different.
Is your first album as political as your second one? I've listened more kind of focused on your new one and listening to the lyrics and read that.
I honestly don't. I did not.
Political's a useless. It's a facile word to use, and I don't mean it. It's very simple, and it sums it up in such a basic way because I feel like we're all observing.
Well, it's just that I make music about life and my life.
Yes,
and so if you're in a time that's politically
there's
pretty active.
things going on.
Even if you're not intentionally because I don't think that any of the songs I hope that they don't come across as like preachy or anything.
No, I don't think
because
so.
I wasn't looking. Everything that is political or comes across as political is usually just me having a conversation with myself about like what's happening. You know what I mean? And it's from that point of view.
Yeah.
So. It's more like internal kind of things.
Yes, but is there something you're kind of wanting people to take away from what you do or what you're saying? You know,
if there was any takeaway, I think it was to just have more internal conversations with yourself, to just like do more work on yourself. You know what I mean? To like work towards some level of like self-actualization. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course. I guess it's hard right now. People, there's so many terrible things happening, obviously.
Sorry, I'm making so much noise.
It really does.
I was for so long, I didn't realize how. That must have been like a nervous...
It's the green crack, bro.
Holy crap. I'm sorry, everyone's going to be so pissed.
No, it's okay. I'll EQ it out.
Okay.
It's going to be fine. I'm interested in what people think we can... Like, what are you supposed to do right now to make the world a better place?
I just started volunteering at 826. You know the place on Sunset?
No.
The Time Travel Mart? Near Stories? That little weird...
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yes, just down the road.
Yeah, they do creative writing with like kids and stuff like that.
Oh, you've been doing that for a little while.
Like a year and a half.
Yeah, the creative writing
Yeah,
thing.
but they just... I just started doing that pretty much immediately. That's pretty much immediately, like when the election and stuff was happening, and like things were getting crazy, and like I got into that again, and it completely has just made this whole like I don't feel I guess as stressed as everybody else, because I think that when you do stuff like that, you see, and you were volunteering downtown and stuff with the homeless people. When you do stuff like that, you see other people who are cool and awesome and care, and you're just like you don't feel the stress that other people, I think, feel when they're not out there involved.
Yes,
you know
of course. Yeah, I guess you just have to do a little something.
Yeah.
Maybe, right?
Just like a little.
That's what I was saying that to Sam Stewart when we had the interview the other day. It's just, if everyone can do a little something...
That's it.
But I was like, we could all do a little something, and it still probably will be quite bad, but at least it will be a little bit better.
Well, yeah, and I met some just like cool people. Like the coolest people I've met in town, besides you, of course, are the people I met like over there. You know what I mean? It's crazy because it's people my age who like are literally volunteering their time to like go and teach kids. It's just like they're going to be like probably fun.
I think there's a lot of people who do care, and maybe it's taken things getting so, I don't know, like wild for them to actually force them into going, you know what, I have to just go.
Yeah.
But it is great to do something in your community.
Yeah.
As
People
well.
have been going to the marches and stuff. I'm honestly like, I'm pretty over doing that.
Not a marcher?
I think I'm over it.
Okay, why?
Well, because now they've
what
turned into
turned?
like
So which
Instagram
marches,
like happenings.
Which marches were you going to?
I went to like the women's march and like
That was a little while ago now, wasn't it? Was it like a year ago or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that wasn't me saying, oh, you haven't been to one recently. I was just trying to timeline it. Because I was just thinking, I didn't go to that one.
Well, there's been like multiple women's marches and
Yeah.
like just like Trump-related marches and like the immigration marches and things like that. But I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. You go, I don't know. Now there's just like some like Scarlett Johansson like speaking and like a bunch of people taking Instagram
So
photos.
you've got a lot of cynicism.
I know. No, well, I do.
That's fine. But I'm kind of with you.
No, because I think that I still do think that it's good that people are getting together, and of course, it just looks good for people. It helps people to see like, oh, there's a bunch of people who feel the same way, because that's their volunteering thing. They see like a bunch of people, and they're like, for one day, but to me, it's just like, what are you guys doing? But it does matter. It does matter.
Well, maybe the march and the protest is not.
It's just not for me.
But maybe it's not as effective anymore. I don't know. I have no idea. It used to be a really powerful
Well, the internet,
tool
it's just like the internet seems more effective. Like you could just do way more.
But I think people feel like that's lazy
It's not lazy though.
But just clicking on the button maybe is.
But having like kids done like a bunch of stuff, like organizing like the school. I think that I was hearing that the Florida kids were doing a bunch of from the shooting, the Parkland kids.
Yeah, okay.
With like the internet and like organizing people and things like that.
But do you still have to turn up en masse as a group, or?
Yeah.
I guess a whole bunch of internet signatures is good as well.
Yeah.
I just wonder how much changes. To me, I think it's true, you know, what you're saying of maybe trying to become a better person, working on yourself to be more, dare I say, enlightened or kind or considerate, and then finding ways in a local community to use that must be effective, right?
Yeah.
It's like if everyone could do that.
If everyone could do that, that'd be incredible, yeah.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Well, I think it starts with like an acceptance of death. I think that that's really what has helped me. It's just like this. I think that people would live their lives differently if they really just acknowledge the fact that they're going to die someday. And I think that a lot of people will say but they don't really think about it.
So this is something recently that you just kind of discovered that you were going to die? Or
when I was in New Orleans before I moved here, I got in like this whole thing where I got shot at in New Orleans, which is like the reason why I moved here.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. I got shot.
Can you tell me a little more about that?
I was just riding my bike to a dinner party. A car pulled up in front of me with like 4 dudes in it, and they were, I guess, trying to take my bike. I had a nice bike. Same thing had happened to my friend a few weeks before, and they just pulled a gun out and started shooting at me.
So crazy shit happens in New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
Was it always like that, or after the...
No, it's always been like that. It was crazier before the hurricane. I moved there afterwards, but like all of the gangs really were taken out after the hurricanes, but now it's just like random craziness, like really random craziness.
Right.
Yeah.
I just remember watching...
For bikes. There's literally a guy who, they robbed him. They were like, give us your money. He pulled out his wallet, had no money, and they shot him because he had no money.
He should have had money.
Fuck
it, what a wanker.
Fuck that
guy. He got what was coming to him.
My mom does always say, carry a little cash on you.
Just in case you get robbed. Yeah, I would offer to go to the cash machine. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
I don't know. Is that what people do? That's what they do in like South America, I heard, when you get robbed. Just take you to the cash.
You'd probably have to have a little bit of a chat with them, wouldn't you? Like, all right, let's go. So how's your day been anyway? I know you're going to rob me.
Somebody the other day in my neighborhood, this was honestly, I don't know how seriously I should take it. I was on, I shouldn't say the street I live on this podcast.
I don't think it matters. Do you think there's going to be crazy fans who are going to come in?
No.
Then you can say the street. You can say the neighborhood, maybe.
Echo Park, yeah.
Sure.
I was over by Bedrock, which is by my house is over there, and like there's still like a little bit of like I guess like a gang presence over there, and like
I suppose, they can't have been squeezed out completely.
Well, there's one street over there in particular which I won't mention it in case you have fans in this particular case.
Or you have fans there and you don't want
to
trash talk it.
Hey, no, if they're listening to this, okay, well, like, this guy came up to me on the street when I was just, like, skating by, and he was just, like, maybe it was because I took a picture before, but he came up to me and he was just like, hey, man, where do you live? And which is, like, the age-old, like, tell me now, and I'm about to fuck you up question.
Okay.
And so I was like, fuck, dude. I was like, oh, man, I live, like, down the street. I was just like, I'm just, like, skating home, man. And he was like, okay, man, be careful. He was just like, who are you with? And I was like, I'm not with anybody. And he was like, I'm with the crazies. So he was like, be careful, man. And I was just like, all right, man. And he turned around and I was like, am I cool? And he was like, yeah, man, you're cool, but be careful. And I was like, what does that mean?
It means that... Oh, God.
But now I'm trying to say on this podcast, I guess, just like, if you are in the crazies, the Echo Park crazies,
don't fuck with Benjamin Booker.
If you're a fan of the music,
he's been vetted.
If you're a fan of the music, just let me by. Let me come through.
Do you think the crazies are Benjamin Booker fans?
I feel like maybe a few people in there. You know.
I don't know much about the crazies. I'm too kind of 90s Bloods and Crips. That's all I really know about.
Well, I looked them up and I couldn't find like a lot of activity. I saw that like.
Do they have social media? These gangs?
I'm sure that they do, but I'm sure it's just like random pages and stuff. But I saw that they had like had some beatings in like Alvarado and Sunset, but that was like years ago. All those people I think were gone because a few years ago, the mayor, I think, they made it illegal for gangs to assemble. Like they couldn't come together at, like, you know what I mean? They made it illegal for them to like meet.
But then what
groups.
constitutes?
And so they literally just it ended all of the gangs.
How do you define a gang though? Then that sort of legislation could just stop people in general who believe in something coming together.
That's true, but nobody's gonna complain about people. It's like
the church group's fine.
Nobody's gonna.
The knitting people are all okay.
Yeah, obviously, it could be like a little bit of like a civil rights infringement, but it's to stop people who are criminals. So.
I'm just always dubious about anything that gets passed because it's always ostensibly about doing something good, but there's been so many laws that are not good at all, and they just pass them in the name of justice, but they're really just to kind of infringe on people. And
this is the country. This is the country,
and this is the place.
This country is literally founded on that. That's what people have been doing for forever. Yeah.
I'm sure they're doing it elsewhere as well, but maybe America's just the loudest.
I mean, that's how they got the land. That's how they got this land, like from the Native Americans, to just like passing laws to just like slowly creep over.
Don't hear much about the Native American situation much in America.
Yeah, that's because it's terrible. It's like everyone is prospering off the fact that a group of people were murdered, like the entire group of people. We all are right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, I didn't choose to be here, but, you know, you choose to be here.
I did choose to be here. Well, you didn't choose to not. You could have left.
Oh. You're right. No,
I did. I did choose to be here. That's true. Yeah, I don't know much about it at all. No one's really spoken about it. It's sort of this forgotten problem that maybe I don't really know.
Well, I don't know what you could do now, you know. It's too late.
Just move on.
You just got to acknowledge it and move on, yeah. I think it's good to acknowledge, though. I feel like it's not acknowledged enough. Like in school, maybe in schools they should do
they teach that stuff at school?
You learn about Americans in the past and like Native Americans and stuff.
Do they have Native American History Week?
No.
That doesn't exist.
No, you learn about it, but you don't learn... you learn that the people who were killing them were heroes, basically. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because that's the way it has to work for us to continue as a country. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you progress as a country and keep doing what you're doing and keep going? If you start teaching the kids like, oh, actually we started this whole thing on some bullshit.
So you believe there's sort of a like not conspiracy, but there's a story that people are kind of coming.
It's the story to keep the country going.
Yeah, sure.
Which I understand why this is the way that it is now, but I mean, yeah, because it's dark, man. There's a James Baldwin quote where he talks about how like the hardest thing for people to do is to forgive themselves, to like look at the things within them that are hard to accept, and that is one of them. Race, these are things that just like the country just hasn't been able to confront. You know what I mean? And it's just like there's stories that have been made to keep us going. But I mean, it's just like if you keep doing that, obviously, it's just like shit's gonna come up. It's like when people bottle their. You know, the angry people who bottle their feelings? It's the same shit, you know? It's the same thing.
Do you have any predictions on what you think is, you know, in 50 years' time, what's America?
Fucking race war, man.
Is it coming? Who's going to win?
Oh, no, I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen. No, I think that people will just, you know, keep slowly just sleeping together, you know? Probably.
Right, so everyone just kind of becomes...
People are more chill.
Caramel?
No, everyone is just more chill every generation. Kids these days are way more chill than we are. That's just the way that works. They'll just slowly become more chill.
I think
I feel good about that.
I think so, right? Like if maybe we've only got sort of 30 or 40 years and then the kind of like he's black, he's white thing just is gone.
No, I meet people. I feel like even in the South, like I met a lot of people who were like socially racist. But like, I never met a lot of people who were my age who were like really racist. You know what I mean? Like it was like more pressure, like like it seemed like a pressure situation. You know what I mean? Like somebody drives by in their truck with like a bunch of their friends and they like yell nigger out the window at you. It's like, you know what I mean?
Do they?
Yeah, but I was saying like that's more of like a friend social pressure situation. Like I know that if I like met that guy, he probably wouldn't. That's what I mean. That's how I feel like we are now with like racism for like a lot of young people, where it's just like a social kind of thing. But like I've met a lot of like really country ass people in the South.
Yeah.
And like I lived with people in New Orleans who were like from Mobile, Alabama and shit, who I know didn't have a lot of black friends, but like they're chill, you know what I mean? Like they I think that like they can relate to me just like as like somebody who just like grew up with no money and shit. Like we can like bond on that level, you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel good about the future and that like.
Well, that's nice to know.
Yeah.
I think if you get most people in a one-on-one nice, like the opportunity to speak to someone, you're going to kind of be able to agree a little bit, right? Like people are going to be not that racist or they're going to be not that homophobic or, you know, for the most part, I think. People are kind of like 70% good, 30% evil.
Yeah. I feel like you're a good listener, but I think that that's what it's just like about listening to people. Like I think that people aren't good at... It's how you come into the conversation with people, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Open, you know what I mean?
It feels like at the moment there's not so much listening going on, though. There's a lot of just loud, I can't believe they think or said,
that's a lack of...
said that.
That's a lack of, like, real conversation.
Well, yes, of course, you're sort of shielded by your username or your internet thing.
I honestly think it is just that. I mean, I did journalism in college, which really was like a big you know, a few times a week you were having to write articles and like interview people all around town, like all different kinds of people, or just like I just grew up with people who just like, thankfully, were the kind of people who would just sit around for like 8 hours and just talk. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I always like valued that kind of stuff, but I think that it's also just made me. Because we just like to debate, you know what I mean? Like, my friends and I we would fight, but, like, for hours, you know what I mean? And then at the end, we would just, like, say, all right, good night, and, like, go home. That was, like, our thing.
There's something really beautiful about that.
Yeah.
I like the idea of the...
That's how we learned stuff, you know what I mean? From each other. That's how we learned just fighting with each other, you know?
I like the idea of the priest and the rabbi who hang out and debate all the time, but they still hang out every day. Like, those kind of things really make me smile.
Yeah,
because we all have to live in harmony eventually. Like, you don't have to agree with everybody at all.
No.
But we just have to be able to live together.
No, yeah.
It's just weird as that.
And it's fun. And you have... It's so... I mean, people who are rich and successful know that. Like, if you meet people who are rich and they have kids, and they hire nannies who, like, are, like, musicians who, like, speak Spanish and shit. Like, that's how I became a nanny when I was a kid for, like, a few months. Because, like, they want their kids to experience other cultures because they know that in life it's going to give you a heads up on other people. Like, the more that you know about different groups of people and how to, like just navigate the world, the better off and more successful you're going to be. That's true.
Yeah, they're probably... Things are probably actually not that bad. There's just a small group of... like misogynists and racists.
Oh
and
no,
all
there's
that.
a lot of them.
I know, but maybe they're just really loud, and they kind of.
I don't think so, man. I think there's a lot of them. I think it's probably like half and half right now. You know.
It's interesting. I guess I just don't feel like I meet them. Most people when I get you guys.
I
don't know if I'm in a complete bubble. You're probably right.
The middle of the country, the entire middle of the country.
Yeah.
They don't see. It's just that it's exposure, you know. All the minorities and like those groups and like the people, the more progressive people, all those people are on the coast. And if you go anywhere,
but I'm just thinking about traveling in general around the world and meeting Uber drivers and people who are just from different walks of life, but you get chatting, and I feel like most people are pretty good and kind and nice,
dude.
Right? Like
I went to the Middle East recently to play a show. And we thought it was going to be...
Oh, yeah, that's right. How did that go?
It was right after I saw you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be insane, because they were like, there's no...
They always tell you everywhere you go is going to be dangerous and
insane. I was getting
crazy,
like crazy, like racist threats, which was like a little weird. And then like they told us that there was no drinking, no cursing during the show, and like all this stuff. And then you get there, and like it's just like a bunch of kids who look and dressed like American kids, like so pumped because this is the only concert they get every year. We met with the Prince, who I found out was like a huge Hillary supporter, went to school here in America and donated like millions of dollars to her campaign, and just like couldn't have been a nicer guy. He was just like a dude who just wants like to bring rock bands to like his country.
Right.
And you're just like, fuck, you're just like, what have I been like seeing this whole time? Like, of course there are bad people in the Middle East, but I mean, like, you're just like, it just makes you think about everything, you know what I mean? You're just like, this isn't at all.
Well, you could have been sort of pressured or scared or told to not do that show.
Yeah.
But instead you go there and you entertain some people, you make some connections.
One of the best shows we've ever had.
Yeah, and you get to just put your good energy out there, and how is that, like, oh, you shouldn't support this and that, and it's like, oh, maybe, you know, Jesus always hung out with everybody, and they told him not to, but he's like, I'm not calling you Jesus, Benjamin.
There's just like I think that now, like, I'm really focused on, like, I told you I like to do the touring, but like now, like, I'm playing with Mavis, like, I'm going to Mexico because I like playing in Mexico. Like, I'm just trying to do stuff that I'd like to do because life is short. That's what I'm talking about. It's just like I'm trying to live life and just do things like I don't know, because this is it, you know. So I'm trying to live like that. Yeah.
Do you think you're not going to be around that long? I feel like
none of us are. No, you know what I mean. But that's what I'm saying. You got to be.
You got to be ready to that you're going to die tomorrow.
But I'm not telling.
But don't be crazy.
Yeah, well, that's what I think that the whole album is about. Is like realizing that it, because I think that it is about balance. Like, I don't think that because I think that part of me before was just like, you should. Why not just like go crazy and do all the drugs and drink all of the booze because like you're gonna die soon. But I think that I don't know. It's the opposite of that now. You know what I mean? Where it's just like you could go at any time, so just like embrace now and like the present and like those kinds of things, and just like really enjoy it. And don't forget it because it's short. You know what I mean? It's just like you gotta soak it in. You know.
It's really this is very happy to hear. This is so lovely.
I'm feeling happy these days, Josh.
That's great.
Yeah.
Do you have a sort of musical ethic or something that you kind of always want to? You're always striving for. You know, is it that your lyrics have to be the most true to what you believe, or it has to sound a certain way?
Well, I do have like I guess like guiding things, but I mean like the real goal, I guess. For me, has just been to be writing better songs, like, and luckily the people that I work with, that's the only thing. Nobody has ever said like, we need an album from you now, or in fact, I'm trying to schedule time now with this dude here for February, I think, next year to record, which is forever. But the label, they there's never once when they're just like, oh, we need you to like get in there and crank it out. They understand that it's just like, I want this guy next year. He's the best guy, and you know he's the best guy. So we're gonna wait till you know what I mean?
Great.
But so like I don't know. I'm excited for that.
So what? Just always trying to write better.
To write better songs and to make better music. That's it.
Is there a kind of?
It's just like that kind of stuff. I think people who make music, well, maybe not everybody, but like I just get into everything, which is like why I have to be careful of my personality. You know, smoking and like everything. But like I mean, for like everything. I usually just. I don't know, I can't stop now. So it's just like you just want to get better and better and see how far you can go. Like it's like at the end of your life you hope that you're like an 80-year-old dude who can just like make people cry at the top, like the drop of a hat, you know what I mean? It's like a song. Is there
a point where you think you could retire, where it's done? Would you be happy if you've done 10 albums or you've played this? Like, I think is there an end goal?
I think that I'll always keep playing music, but I think that
Maybe like Mick Jagger?
No, not like that. I just mean that I would just take. If anything, like if it starts to become like burdensome, I think that I would just like pull it back a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I can't imagine not writing songs, but I think like I don't know. Maybe instead of like releasing records every couple of years, like every 10 years, I would release like a self-release, like 500 records. You know, something like that. You know.
Oh yeah, who do you think is the worst band in the world?
Well, what would make somebody the worst band?
I don't know.
I don't look at bands like that. But if you tell me what you think makes somebody the worst band, I could help you in deciding what the worst band is.
I'm not sure. I think that's why I like to keep it open.
I think that I don't like.
Who's the best band?
I think that I don't like bands who seem very not genuine, or bands that seem like they don't enjoy even playing music, like that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Where it's like, why did you even start a band? Like, clearly you started for the wrong reasons, and now you're trapped in this.
I don't understand how anyone could start a band. This is the thing that's always been funny to me, is how you could start it for any other reason than just enjoying music. Like, if you think you're going to get rich,
the ladies,
or you're going to get chicks,
thing.
It's not. That's never happened.
What?
I mean, of course, there's been some bands who have made money and got some chicks.
You're right, but they were all nerds before you. They were all definitely
it's
nerds.
kind of like
it's hard to really. It's hard to explain that to people. Like, people always like, how do you make it? It's just like, dude, everybody who is playing music as a job is like a huge nerd, like a giant nerd.
And a massive,
how do you get good at something unless
fan.
you just spend an insane amount of time doing it? Before I did this, I was writing about music for years. I was going on tour with friends' bands. I was like booking shows. I was like, you know what I mean? It's just like you become like obsessed with it. It's like, and I'm sure you're the exact same way.
I've been obsessed since it started. I haven't stopped.
You can't stop. That's what I think. Like
you have that same thing inside you that just keeps you going all the time.
But even this, like, I wasn't like I genuinely was not trying to like even play music. But I think that it's just like, when your whole world is music, it's just like, that was like one of the only things left. It just like pop, you know what I mean? It's just like, and you already know so much about everything else that it just like worked out nicely, you know.
What would you do if you weren't doing this?
I mean, I can tell you what I would like to have been doing, or what I would.
Yeah, that's fine. Of course.
I mean, realistically, I probably would have been like working at like a record store or a restaurant.
You applied to NPR or whatever. Is that what it said?
Yeah,
online?
but I would have never gotten any of those jobs.
But that was something you were interested in.
Yeah.
What, just working at one of those radio stations? Anything in
Well, yeah. Well, I went to school for journalism.
Right. So that's something you think. Do you still sort of pursue that as a hobby in any way?
Writing?
Or? Well, yeah, journalism, writing, kind of following.
No, I write different stuff now. I wrote like an essay for the album
for the new album. Yeah, I read it.
But which was nice because I don't write stuff very often. But I like that. I don't know. I got as much response for that as the album from a lot of people. So I think
I thought that was really interesting, cool thing to do, and it just was something different, but didn't feel like bullshit. It felt very honest.
Well, because they asked me to write about the single Witness that we were releasing, and they were like, they just needed a sentence. And
it's nice to see the artists write their own press release.
It wasn't even supposed to be
thumping drums, classic sounding production, gruff voice. It's just the most banal kind of music journalism.
We would never. I would never let them do that kind of stuff. I mean, they try to squeeze a lot of that kind of stuff in. And if you see the press releases, there's definitely always a few sentences that are not me and have not been approved by me.
Yes.
But
there's always something surrounding every band.
But they pay for it. They pay for it. What are you going to do? They pay for it. Until I can pay for everything, I just have to do it.
Is that something you'd like to do? Be your own boss, record label?
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I have such a cush life with these people. Like, I honestly can't. Like, I mean, it's really the main John Salter, this guy who runs ATO, the label I'm on. He's just the best. He just seems like an old school, do whatever you want. If he signed you because he likes you. And they don't really get rid of people. You know what I mean?
And there's a lot of people liking you.
There's a lot of people who have not put out records in 10 years. You know what I mean? But they're still with the label. It's like, when you want to put out a record, put out the record.
Is the label, what's it called again, sorry?
ATO Records.
ATO. Are they surviving, making money?
They have big bands. Who's
the big ones?
There's Alabama Shakes, My Morning Jacket, and like that kind of stuff. So they have people.
They must have been really happy with
King
it.
Gizzard and Lizard Wizard is the recent one, but they have they've been killing it. But so they have people. He's smart because he came from a major label. This is something that a lot of people who, in bands, they don't realize, and I see that when I tell them this. It's just like, you see it in their face. It's just like, you have to be with a label that has money. That's like huge. It's like not about. I mean, it's about them being cool, but I mean, that can change, like, the people on the label. But, like, if they don't have money, it's going to be terrible. And, like, John is smart enough to, like, make sure that he has people, and they have, like, who else? Fuck, there's a bunch of other bands. There's other bands that make money, too. But they make sure that they have people who make money so that he can sign people that are, like, other people.
But neither, like...
If you're on a label that's just, like, cool and a bunch of cool bands... It's, like, cool because you feel like you're part of a good group, but it's just, like, then you try to make a video and they tell you have, like, $1,000 and you're just like, what the... You know
The video for Believe is the one for your new album.
Yeah.
There's no real other videos? Is it just the one?
I think it's just that video.
Yeah.
Oh, we did, like, some live
There's a live thing of Witness, which is really cool. But I thought it was great. There's one video... And it's really well executed, and it's a beautiful video, as opposed to kind of doing a few half-assed ones. Like, do one, get it done right, and that will stand strong for quite some time.
I'm honestly just, like, not very... And I know I know that it hurts me negatively, like, career-wise, but I just, like, am not very good at just, like, doing the rubric of just, like, checking off the things that you have to do to put out an album. You know what I mean?
But maybe that doesn't
because they
hurt
said that
you
you needed... Yeah, of course they were like, let's do, like, 3 videos.
Right.
Of course they said that.
No,
and they still...
one great
I could do
video.
videos now. They still would probably, like, do videos now. I'm like...
yeah, sure, okay. You got the dream.
It just happened
run.
to be like, I was like, I'll do a video when we have a good idea for a video. And I had a good idea for a video. So
that was your idea?
Yeah, I think that I just wanted... I think that I just had the idea because it was, like, so cinematic. It felt like the stuff.
It's beautiful. It's really nice.
The strings that my friend Oliver, who lives here in town, Oliver Hill, did the string arrangements with Sam Cohen. But I just wanted something that was, like, kind of, like, ugly juxtaposed with something that was a pretty, just, like, visually. I wanted to see something like that, and so I did, like, the military thing. And originally we were going to try to do, like, a synchronized swimming thing at the end.
Right.
But that it ended up being, like, that would have cost a lot of money. So we did the dancers at the end, which ended up being really great, too.
I like the dancers. I like the kid running around, shooting them with his hand, and the sort of slow. That's really cool.
Yeah, my friend James Lees did it. We started doing videos on the last album, but I think that we're getting more into, like, a stride together with that video. It just takes time, to start working with people.
Yes,
to
of
really
course.
get that good compromise of, like, the
I
both
like
of
the
you.
continuing of working. Once you find a good person, keep working with them and build the relationship. I've even just found that with the bands that I'm in. Mm-hmm. You keep going, and as the years go by, you realize all the things about that person that annoys you, but you make peace with it, and then you kind of...
I know.
It becomes...
Well, that's like a real relationship.
Yeah. Well, Miami Horror, it's 10 years now, and Ben and I...
There's something to that, but there's also just, like, that it's difficult. Well, I mean, I guess it just depends on what you're doing. Like, if you write music that ends up being completely different, and the band can't play it before, then you got to get a new band. You know what I mean? You got to do what's best for the song.
Of course, I understand that. But you've never been a band, you've always been Benjamin Booker.
It's true.
So you can get rid of any asshole whenever you want.
It's true.
But Sam's playing drums for you still?
Sam is playing drums with me, yeah.
Sam Hirschfeld, ladies and gentlemen. Great guy. Great drummer. Love the Hirsch.
I feel like while we have him, I'm sure he's going to do something else. I mean, he's constantly making his own stuff. So I think it's just like a matter of time until...
He said he was auditioning to play bass for someone the other day, not on the drums. He came to borrow my bass pedals.
He's so... I didn't even know until recently that he played bass and keys and, like, all of that
I
kind of
didn't
stuff
know
like
that at all. I thought
because I see him dabbling on, like,
well, his dad's a freak piano
know.
player guy.
Yeah. He's a composer. He's, like, a big composer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his dad's name, though? It's Hirschfelder. I don't know what the... I'll insert this afterwards. I'll let everyone know.
Yeah, his dad is Hirschfelder, so,
There's not many
like
Hirschfelders.
Yeah.
Can
you do a good impression of my voice for when you put that in?
I don't think so.
I'm feeling a little stuffed.
Maybe there's a plug-in.
I feel a little stuffed, like, nasally today, but it's okay. Continue.
Do you ever want to be the biggest guy in the world, the most famous artist? No.
You've met those people.
I have.
Not the biggest people in the world, but you've met people who are, like, way bigger than us. And does it look good?
I mean, it would be good if it was all...
The money is nice, the money is nice.
Well, I look at someone like Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, who's got to be one of the biggest bands.
Oh, but he's...
And he's done it through his own way, but it's taken him a long time.
You're right. That is cool, because he does...
But I don't think he ever set out to be the biggest band in the world. I don't think he had that narcissist...
That's actually a really good example, because that doesn't seem...
contrived, really.
Or it just doesn't... It seems like he lives probably a good life. Like, because, I mean, people in LA. Like, I know people who are, like, mutual friends. Like, my manager plays poker with him. Or just, like, I know a good guitar player who, like, plays with him.
Sure.
Dean.
Dean.
And so, like, they all seem like normal people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and they seem like people who just hang out and live in LA. So, like, if you can get away with, like, being in, like, the biggest band in the world and have, like, a normal life.
You don't want to be The Weeknd or something like that.
Well, I also just know people here who are successful who never leave their house. You know what I mean? Literally, who just like never leave their house. Who Postmates everything and stuff like that. So you're just like, you don't want that. That's a nightmare.
People are gonna hound them.
Yeah, and they would get hounded. They would, living in fucking Silver Lake. If you're like an indie rock star, you know what I mean? Can you imagine that shit?
Not sure. I feel like the cool people don't hassle the other cool people as much.
They do.
They
dude.
do.
They do. In LA, people are shameless. They don't care. This is not in New York. People don't hassle people, but in LA, people definitely hassle people. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a complete mentality.
I would love to have like a Tom Waits kind of like life. You know what I mean?
A what? Sorry.
Tom Waits, dude.
Tom Waits.
Where it's just like he's never had a big radio hit.
Oh, there's no hits.
There's no
hits.
But he's slowly gotten better as a musician over time, better as a songwriter. His best records are his most recent. He's getting better, and he has a good following, and he plays shows, and people are excited to see him when he comes out to play, and he just puts out good albums. I suppose
someone like Nick Cave is very similar, and just doing his own thing for
That's
a
what
long
I'm talking
time.
about.
And
because these are people. This is what I'm talking about. These are people who are working on writing songs. They're working on the craft of songwriting. They want to write better songs. They're working on, you're working on like this weird talent to manipulate people. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing. It's just like expressing yourself, but also just trying to manipulate people's emotions. I mean, it's a show. You know what I mean? So I think, but it's just like that's what they're so good at that. Seeing Nick Cave is the greatest show I've ever seen because he is a master.
I've never seen him.
He
I
is
know
a
he
master
makes people,
performer.
Yeah.
He's a master performer. He understands people. He gets it. And like I want to get there, and I just like I don't know. I guess I realized that it's recently, and this is what's made me, I guess, more like at ease and stuff about the whole process. It's just like that it is a journey, and you look at these people, and it's just like, yeah, maybe 30 years from now you will be that person. Both of those people also have come into they were kind of like caricatures, you know, but they've kind of come into that person with age. You know what I mean? Like Tom Waits was always kind of like a grumpy old man, but now he actually is a grumpy old man. So it's just like I am just like. I don't know. I'm just like hoping to just like settle in slowly over time.
I love that idea of as you get older, becoming more and more yourself and becoming better. I'm not such a huge fan of the young, fresh, precocious artists. You know, that's never sort of appealed to me.
It appeals to me. I mean, it's hard to, I think, sometimes like not see that stuff and like get like a little like envious. You know, where you're just like. To be like the Flash, like the big like guy who just like gets it all and like it's like the hot thing. You want that?
Well, it's tortoise hair kind of thing a little bit though, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, like I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like there's not times.
But you're not a little jealous
damn.
of who is it in particular? Who makes you jealous?
Tons of people. Anybody my age who's like there's
give me a couple.
Anyone. Name anyone.
Julian Casablancas.
Well, not him because he was like. Big when I was younger, so he was always like a big... If you name somebody who's my age, it's like, of course there was a time when I was probably jealous of
Mac Demarco.
Sure. And I know him, you know what I mean? But I'm sure that, but like...
And he's pretty cool, isn't he?
He
seems like a dude.
But that's the thing, it's just like, if you meet that guy, you realize that like, first of all, it couldn't happen to a better person.
Sure.
He realizes that like, he is lucky to be in his position, and just like like because I know that he comes from like we met a few years ago. I know that he comes from like, I think like humble beginnings and just like in Canada and just like Edmonton, like not a great like. And I feel like when you hang out with him, he feels like that guy who's just like, isn't this shit crazy? Like,
yeah, he seems like he's very happy that it all happened, and it's like, yeah, this is cool.
Isn't this cool?
Yeah,
like, you know what
crazy?
I mean? Like,
I
went to his studio, and he had like this cassette machine. Like, he had built out the studio and shit, and he like had this cassette machine, and I was just like, damn, I saw one of those for sale recently. He was like, you want this shit? He was just like, take it, bring it back. He was just like, you know what I mean? Like, so you can't get mad at that. But also, it's just like people like that is like that is like a level of like charisma that is just like a few times in a generation. That's crazy.
Yeah,
like,
he's very natural, isn't he?
Insane.
Yeah.
It's honestly insane. You get it. Like, no matter what you think about his music, and I do think that he writes great, simple, like, just songs that resonate with people. He's a good song. He's an underrated songwriter, I think. But I think that the charisma thing is just like he is a good person. I believe that he's a good person, and that's really what is more important than the music that he's making. It's just like the vibe that he creates. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
But that's someone who strikes me as just being very much themselves.
Yes. That is something that I thought about recently, too, is just because... I was just thinking about that, about him recently, because I was thinking about my own self, and, like, because sometimes I think that I'm aware, like, self-aware, but then, like, I'm, like... There's other times when I'm just like, fuck, I'm just like completely oblivious to who I am. But I think that is what is attractive about him, is that he is completely comfortable with himself, and like, yes, he can ham it up sometimes, but like, you know that he's not trying to like be cool for you. You know what I mean?
No.
Like, and I think that that's what people want. Like, deep down, people really want to hang out with people who are just like not gonna. And that goes back to the listening to people earlier and stuff that we were talking about. Just like coming up to people who are different than you and stuff. Because I think that anybody would like him, you know, from different backgrounds and stuff. It's just like if you come in with like that kind of like vibe of just like, listen, man, I'm not trying to be cool here, or just like, you know what I mean? He's just himself. He's here. He's like, I'm a person. I'm standing here right now on this earth. You're here too. Like, let me be goofy and like make some faces.
Do you think that you are completely you, or do you think you've still got some stuff to shed?
I'm working on it. I think that I'm the closest I've ever been. But
well, that's good, because as you grow and get older, you should be getting closer and closer to who you really are.
Yeah, I think I'm working on it. I think that recently I realized that I was more. I still think that sometimes I'm more conservative socially that I need to be, just from like my background of growing up, because I grew up like very, and it doesn't come out very often, but just like occasionally I realize that I'm being like very like
From what background?
Just like a very like a Christian, like conservative background.
Right.
And like, even though I haven't done that for a long time, you know, just the things that you grow up with, like, it's because it's just the way you grew up learning, you know what I mean? So it's just like I don't know, you know what I mean?
Of course.
So that kind of stuff I feel like is one of like the main things that I feel like I'm slowly just like, but it's not bad now, because I think that now I can like, if I see it coming up, I can like recognize and be like, you're being silly, like this is silly, like you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's why a lot of people drink for the most part, is to just make those kind of fears go away, so that you can loosen up and sort of. But maybe everyone should only drink one beer, and then they would be perfect.
Well, my problem with drinking was that, I mean, I think that I think that when I was getting older, I was just realizing that, you realize that you are the sum of your actions, and so like, even if you think that you're a good person because your intentions are good, and like, I don't know, deep down I feel like I'm a good person, but like, if I'm just being an asshole all the time, drinking. You know what I mean? You can't. I think that I was using.
So you turn into a drunk asshole.
I think I wasn't being cool. You know, a lot of times. Not all the time, but I think that like, if you drink like crazy, like every few months, you're, you know, gonna have a bad night. You know?
Of course. So, yeah, it's only.
But that's not. That's what I'm saying. Even that's not. Like, it wasn't like I was like getting arrested or just like knocking up women everywhere and shit like that. You know.
No, I never.
But I mean, like, I think that like
anything too wild.
But I think that
you'd get enthusiastic. And maybe a little crazy.
But that's what I'm saying. If you do that, but I mean, like, that's not even bad. But I mean, I'm saying if you have bad nights, even a few times a year, I feel like after like a decade, you have to be like, how
That's
often do I
why.
want
That's why I stopped drinking.
I know, man.
Yeah,
I know.
I just had to okay, if I want to be a better person, which I do, I can't keep rolling the drunk dice.
Right. Well, I haven't stopped, but I took probably about 6 months off, which was great because I think taking time off allows you to see drinking from like, because then you spend time with people who are drinking, and you get to, you know what I mean? That will quickly change your mind about the way you think about drinking.
Yeah.
So I got to do that, and then, I don't know, you start thinking about more about the reasons why you drink. You start to appreciate, I think, living sober more and enjoying just being sober and appreciate that. And then I also told you earlier that, I just been smoking more recently, weed. So I think that...
It's nice having being able to go from one thing to something else.
Yeah.
That definitely helps.
It definitely helps, yeah. Yeah, because, smoking has helped me to, like, not be smoking cigarettes as much, and to not really... Because, if you smoke before you go out, you could, like I said, you can just sip on a drink for 2 hours.
Do you think a bunch of really stoned guys ever went out bashing people?
No.
It hasn't happened, has it?
No,
Who were just stoned?
I've never done one single thing dumb stoned. I've never done anything that I regretted stoned. You know?
Maybe like microwaved something.
Except been too stoned to do something. Yeah, maybe I've been too stoned to do something. Yeah. I remember one time in college. Oh, I've never told the story before. I remember one time in college I worked at... There's so many embarrassing aspects to the story that I don't know.
Please continue.
I remember that I was working at this fast food restaurant, because I was in Florida, so it was like a Miami Cuban restaurant called Pollo Tropical. It was a chicken place. And there was a girl named Kayla who worked there who was like this beautiful black girl from Miami. Like, beautiful.
You knew her already?
She worked at Pollo Tropical with me. We were both in just like fucking bright blue shirts with chickens on them. And visors, like that vibe.
Yes, of
and
course.
Then she invited me over to her house. Like, honestly, one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. I smoked weed with her, got too high, left immediately. I said I have to go home. I just immediately walked out. It was one of those embarrassing, I don't even know if I said goodbye, but it was just like I have to leave. And that's a regret for me. That's a regret for me.
Well, if you're out there, what's her name one more time?
Kayla. What was her last name?
Kayla, if you're out there,
we went to college together.
DM Benjamin, and he would like to take you on another date. Maybe this time without getting...
Too much time has passed. I don't know.
Maybe just enough time has passed.
Maybe. Maybe.
What do you think music and musicians offer to the planet, Benjamin?
Just entertainment.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it for you? You don't think there's more?
Well, other things, obviously, but
Are we revolutionaries? Are we changing the world? Did John Lennon really make a huge difference? Does it change the way people think?
I think that you could change the world, but it'd be insane to it'd be insane to think about it like that. You change people, I think. You do change people. I think that you do. Because, even there was a band when I was younger, a hugely influential band on me called This Bike is a Pipe Bomb. And they had a song called...
What's it called?
This Bike is a Pipe Bomb.
Okay.
They had a song called Depression. And at the end of the song, they just say, depression ain't so bad, look what it did for Robert Johnson. And it was like a punk band, and that was all I listened to at the time. But I was like, who the fuck is Robert Johnson? Who's the most famous blues guy ever. And it just sent me on this, it changed my life. That's the reason why I do what I do now. You know what I mean? It's just I wouldn't be living the life I live without that band. So it's just And then I've affected other people because of that. You know what I mean? That's crazy. And they're a band that nobody's ever heard of.
I haven't heard of them.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, when you think about it like that, it's just like, how could I not be already happy with what I've done? I feel good. It's just like now, that's why I'm focusing on the songwriting and not being the biggest band, because it's just like, I feel like I've hit my, I did the bucket list, man. I feel like I've hit it.
Are you getting people coming up to you telling you that you have affected them or changed, their views? And does that happen on tour or?
Yeah, that stuff happens. People.
How do you react to that? I always find when people say, "I love your band or your music," I'm like, "Cool, thank you," but I don't. It's hard to know what it.
Yes, you
can't really relate.
You say thank you. I can relate because
you always be really nice.
You just have to immediately think about
the band that did that for you.
Yeah, yes, I just immediately go to that place, and I know that there are people who were fucking cool to me, like so cool to me when I was younger. Like TV on the radio, I remember Kip from that band just being somebody when I was a teenager, just being like so cool to me. And just answering my guitar questions, like when I emailed him. It's
so nice when they be really nice, isn't it?
But that's what I'm saying.
And you never forget it, and then it makes you want to do the same.
You have to do it because you're just like that. That's changed. That's another. That's what I'm saying. That has changed my life too. Yeah.
Yes.
But that's also just. I think that when you look at life like that, it makes you feel better about the world, because I mean, like those little things that you do every day, just like kind things, affect. It's just it's a web. It spirals out to other people. Yeah.
There was a band when I was a teenager in New Zealand, an Australian band, and they played it. We went to go and watch them, and afterwards I made up some bullshit story that I could tell the security guard that I knew the lead singer, that my brother had met her in Australia. This is total nonsense. So he goes, "Well, we'll see about that." And he went and he knocked on the door, and she came to the door, and they goes, "Do you know these kids?" And she goes, "Yeah, of course, yeah, they're great. Come on in." And
that is awesome.
I know.
What band was this?
They're called the Super Jesus. Her name was Sarah McLeod. She still does stuff in Australia. But I never forgot it, and they were so nice, and they answered all of our questions, and
that is cool, dude.
It made our night, month, year almost.
You have to do stuff like that. Like the best times interact. I try to respond to people's messages and stuff, but like you also don't want to get too deep into just answering everyone's messages.
Of course.
But occasionally, if you just do something random like that, it just feels so. Yes. You know what I mean? If somebody's just "I love your music," and you're just "What's your address?" and you just send them some shit.
I agree.
They just lose it. They lose it. You know what I mean? It's like giving a kid a fucking giant ice cream. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You get that same
I've never forgotten those encounters with people that I looked up to who were that nice.
Yeah, who was your person?
Well, there was a guy...
besides you just said her.
Oh, yeah, at the time. There's a guy, a famous New Zealand rocker, who's in a band called She Hud, named John Toogood. Mm-hmm. I actually interviewed him for the podcast.
That sounds very familiar.
Yeah, they came over to America and tried. They changed their band name, though, and because they were called She Hud, and it was right after 9/11, and they came over to America, and people were like, She Hud, Jihad, so they changed their name.
No!
Yes! Now it seems a little ridiculous. People were
forget how crazy it was back then, dude.
Of course.
They don't remember. And it's hard to explain to kids now. The first album, you asked me if it was political, and it wasn't really political, but there was a song called Kids Never Growing Older, which was specifically, I don't know if I've talked about that either, was specifically about that, about being a kid growing up in a post 9/11 world. I think a lot of people thought that it was about Katrina because I was living in New Orleans.
Okay.
The lyrics are maybe ambiguous, but it was about that. It was about just the fear that was just implanted in all of us, growing up here. I was in 7th grade. I was 11 years old. We all watched on TV, got taken home from school. We grew up on military bases and stuff. You know what I mean? So it was just I don't know. It was crazy. And then the headquarters for the military Central Command was in the town where I grew up. On the base, MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa is the headquarters. And so there's all these people from all these countries after that coming, and they were sitting with all these portables, and I could just, the world was around me was changing immediately after that. So it was just it was a huge thing for me. But that's what it's I don't know, you bringing that up is just something I want to do something more with that. This is why I'd like to write, I guess, essays and stuff more, if I do write and stuff in the future. Because it is just it's a crazy thing that I haven't really read about that much, just like being a kid and like the way that that's affected.
There hasn't been a 9/11 movie yet.
Well, there's been like
is
movies.
Is Dwayne The Rock Johnson going to be the main guy?
There was like a Nicolas Cage. There's been good movies, but I mean, I don't think I want to see a movie.
And then maybe another 10 years, and then they can do it.
Yeah, well, I don't want to see a movie about the day as much as I'm talking about the day after.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
I don't want to see about the day really, because there's documentaries from that day that we watched.
Oh, it was an inside job for sure, right?
Oh my god! I saw something recently was like somebody was saying that maybe this is crazy.
Wasn't
there some crazy thing that came out?
There's
recently?
a whole conspiracy theory thing that it was all an inside job.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm saying I thought that there was some weird thing that came out recently.
Oh, okay. I mean, when there's that much furor, you never really... Now it's impossible to ever really know.
That would be... I mean, I don't put it past people because obviously slavery, the Holocaust, things like that have happened. But like, think about how evil that shit would be if you found that shit out. Like, I don't think that it was an inside job because I think that it'd be hard for me to really think about that. But
there's just as much evil shit that they do, that you would like that government would have done to other countries, let alone on their own soil. So you know it's possible.
Oh no, I know. You're right. Damn it! It feels more evil to do it to yourself, though. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about that.
It's the same thing.
Because you know that there's thousands of people dying all the time.
See, if I found out it was an inside job, to me it would make no difference. All it shows is that there's evil, crazy people. They're either on America's side or what was it, Afghanistan? It was, what's his name? The guy with the beard who did it, wasn't it?
Osama.
What did you think?
Did you forget his name?
No, momentarily I had a blank. What do you think about when Barack Obama assassinated Osama bin Laden? Do you think you should be allowed to just assassinate someone, to just go in and shoot them without any trial?
Yeah.
You think it's okay?
Somebody like that, I think you should totally do it.
But so
I don't think that you should take it for political reasons. I don't think that you should take people out to make money.
It seems.
I don't think that you should take people out to make money or just because you don't like people's politics it's never because of politics. It's usually because of money. But it's always because of money. What am I talking about? But if it's somebody like that who is literally killing like a lot of people, you should take him out. Yeah.
Do we know that he really killed people?
He orchestrated 9/11.
Did he? We were just saying it could have been an inside job. Did he? Where's the proof?
Well, I'm saying if he did orchestrate.
But that's what I mean. We don't know.
But he's also linked to other terrorist acts. It seems like.
But no trial.
Are you saying he wasn't a terrorist?
I'm not sure. I have no idea. I don't actually know. I'm just going on...
It's true. I really don't... I
don't know. You're just going on the word of what people have told you.
You are 100% right now. I'm going to be the person who says, people don't do this. Josh, you are right. We don't know anything. I don't know. He could be a fake person. Those could be moon landing videos. I don't know that Osama was for real. They could have made that shit up.
That's what seems funny about.
Maybe it's an actor who lives in Los Feliz. You know, I don't know.
Of course, the dirty wizard.
Yes,
I think that's what Sacha Baron Cohen as Bruno says to the guys in that movie. Yeah, your king is a dirty wizard or something.
That is crazy. I do think about shit like that, though. Especially after the Middle East thing that we just talked about. It's just like. I wouldn't be surprised, I guess, if there was like no Osama bin Laden. We never saw the body, dude. We never saw the body.
It's hard to believe anything anymore. So that's why I guess all you can do, right, is just be as kind and good to everyone that you meet through your day-to-day.
Well, the internet makes you forget that you only really know what's in front of you. Like, even shit that you read on the internet, anything that anybody tells you. I guess the thing that I've come to terms with, and that is what makes... I think that a lot of things, like the death thing that we talked about, or what I'm about to tell you, a lot of it is just like really going... In the last album, this is what the whole thing was about. It's just like going through these dark, chaotic periods to hopefully come out to like a peaceful other side. But I think that part of that was just like... Yeah, I think I realized just like at some point you're just like, nobody knows anything. Scientists... politicians, nobody. You know what I mean? Like, as much as I want to, like, yes, I'm like 99% sure that gravity is gravity, but...
I just read a book about all of this.
But there could also be
It was great.
There's a chance that gravity is not even
that
we're thinking about it wrong,
that
because that's what's happened consistently for all the time. For all you would be right to be the person who was just like, no, gravity is not.
Well,
right.
it's
history
not,
would be on your side if you were that person.
It's not what we think it will be. In 200 years, it will be. Yeah, this is that Chuck Klosterman book.
I read that.
Yeah, I just finished reading it as well. It's like, what if we are
That's
wrong?
That's a good one, yes.
Yeah, and it kind of...
I read that at a good time when I was going through all of this.
Right.
Yes.
So then what are we really...
Damn, you read that. I love Chuck. I missed him at Skylight. He just was here recently.
What, doing a talk?
Yeah, May 28th, I think it was.
I like him too. I enjoyed that.
I interviewed him when This is going to blow your mind. I interviewed him when I was in college for the newspaper. And it was the thing that didn't make me want to be a journalist, because I lied to a friend to get the interview, because I told her that somebody already had it, so that she wouldn't ask, so that I could get it. And that was the thing that made me think, I don't want to be this cutthroat and do journalism. But also, I talked to him on the phone, and he was just like, if you spend your life doing a job that you don't like, he's like, that's 2/3 of your life wasted. Because he was like, you're sleeping for 8 hours, or you're working a job that you don't like for 8 hours. 2/3. And when you get, just for some reason, that fraction was enough for me to be like, I'm gonna just work at a record store and like play guitar. That was it. So Chuck Klosterman was really the dude.
So then though, what are people supposed to do and believe? If everything could potentially be bullshit, we don't know.
You don't do it. This is what I try to. This is what I try to visualize. It's so simple, but just like you close your eyes, you visualize that you are on a ball floating in space. You're with no. This is even better. No. I'll give you an even better. This is an even better metaphor. This is a better one. Pretend that you were trapped inside of an elevator with like a bunch of people. None of you know how it happened that you got trapped, or how you're going to get out of it, or what's going to happen when you do get out. And what do you do in that situation? The only thing to do is to not be an asshole and to just like make sure that everybody is okay. And so that is how I have thought about, I guess just recently, just the world. It's just like, if you are here with a bunch of people, no one knows anything. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody knows why we're here or what's going to happen. It's just like the only thing that you can do that you know is for sure right is to just
be kind,
just not
fuck.
You know,
yeah.
I'm like, I guess that you don't even know that though, because it's just like, for all that we know, maybe it is true that you should just walk through the world with a samurai sword to slash at people.
No, because
wouldn't it be crazy if that was like what life was about? Like they were just like, really should have just been killing as many people as possible.
We had it all wrong. We should have been fucking with everyone. No, because you know what it's like to be in pain and to be treated badly. So all you really should do is make sure if everyone's time is short, try and make it as good for everyone as it can be.
That's it. It's just like a short
amount of pain.
This sucks for everybody in a lot of ways. How can we make this good for everybody?
Yeah. I think that's it. I think we've figured it out.
I think that's the secret to life.
I don't even know if it took us that long.
Secret to life on this podcast. Wouldn't it be crazy if we just started like some kind of like cult right now?
You will go crazy though. They all go crazy. The cult leaders, yeah.
I couldn't handle the power. I know I couldn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
That scares me. Sometimes I do think about when you were saying that getting more successful. I feel like now that I'm pretty. I feel like I'm pretty chill now, but I could totally. You see people lose it, man. I could totally see myself like just getting lost in that shit, man.
How old are you now?
28.
28. You should.
I feel like I'm young enough that it could happen still.
Maybe you've got until 30.
If I got millions of dollars right now and just like a bunch of success and like ladies and like shit, I might be an asshole next year. I might be a huge asshole.
I think after 30, you're probably going to be okay.
Settled, yeah.
Yeah. I'm fine.
I'm still working. Like we said, I'm still working.
Yeah.
You're a little older.
I'm a little older. I think that if it happened now, I should be pretty cool. I know enough people who knew me as a loser that would kind of be able to keep me down.
You honestly seem like one of the most stable people I know.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I guess the sober thing helps too, yeah.
Yeah, sure. You've only known me.
You're always in control.
Sure. It gets a little
That is crazy to know somebody though. It really changes your, it's because you are always in control, you know what I mean? It's because everybody else that I know loses it at once, you know?
Yeah, maybe I only lose it in my room by myself every now and again.
I did enjoy that about the time I took off from drinking, because it feels like you have a superpower when you go out, because it's just like you are just looking at these people. It seems sad. It does seem sad from an outside perspective.
It's nice to be able to be...
Because you're like, why? Why are you doing this?
Yeah, I feel...
It is fun in the moment, but when you're looking at it from an outside perspective, it's hard to see it. It's not being said.
I like being able to walk into a bar and see the bouncer and be really polite and say, hello, nice to be here, thank you for that. And know that you don't reek of booze, and that they know they're always like quite happy to see you. And to the bartenders, hello, how you doing? Thank you. Yeah, just a soda water for me, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're not ruining their night.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I mean, I think that before, I don't know. I think that a lot of like the habits for people, I mean, some things are addictive, like obviously like heroin and stuff, but I think for me, drinking especially was not, I mean, it wasn't like, because I wasn't like waking up and like drinking like alcohol and shit like that. But I think that for me, it was just like, the problem was just like, I was so depressed and just was using it to just escape, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just like, I think that's where the sober thing is nice, because it's just like, when you're sober, you can get to the place, I feel like I got to a place where it's just like, I can just have fun now, and then the drink becomes like a cherry on top, you know what I mean? And that's where you want to be. But I think that at the time, and in the past, maybe this is also because my parents weren't drinkers also, it's just like I was only using it to get as drunk as possible. But mostly just because from like a really depressed, like almost to like the, like I want to kill myself, but like I can't kill myself, so I'm just going to drink.
Yeah, you're not really allowed to kill
yourself. So I'm not here. You know what I mean? It's like temporarily not being here. And so I think that, so I don't know, I guess, because I think that a lot of people, I don't know. I think that for a while I was like, maybe I'll never drink again, but I think that
nothing needs to be that absolute.
Well, that's what I realized.
Especially
it's just like, it's really changed. That's what I realized, I guess. It just really changed my relationship with drinking. I think it's just like the not being severely depressed. And I think I realized that just like, you really have to be careful if you do feel yourself like having, because I feel pretty happy, but if you have a bad day, it's just like you have to be conscious and just be like, today's not the day to have a drink. You know?
Yeah, but it's the go-to.
I'm just an idiot. Really, this is all about just like, I mean, I'm just like such an idiot. You know what I mean? It's just like you spend, I'm in my 20s, there's all of these things are so obvious to so many people, but it's just like, I don't know, I'm just having to learn these things, you know what I mean?
Well,
but I know that there's people that learned this when they were 19. I know that, but it's just like for me, it's hard.
That's the only way, though, is to learn it yourself in your own time.
I know.
No one can ever tell you what it is or what you can't do.
It's just hard. I feel so dumb, but I mean, I'm in my 20s. I'm 29. I feel good that like.
You were 28 a moment ago. Now you're 29.
Yeah. I guess there's people.
You'll be 30 in a minute. Fucking hell.
I guess I could have learned it later, and I should be grateful for that. I could have learned it.
Yeah, and you could always. Someone starts doing yoga or starts meditating or, stops drinking, whatever, and they go, I should have done it a few years ago. It's like, hey, man, you're doing it now. You shoulda, coulda, woulda. If my auntie had bollocks, she'd be my uncle, as they say.
Nobody says that here. I've never heard that here.
I love that one.
I wish your roommate was home.
Cigarette. Well,
that is still a thing that is something that is I will I had to come to terms with that.
If you've been a smoker,
I will never give it up.
You.
I will never give it up.
Yeah.
Even I came to terms with even getting cancer. Like I worked this out all in my mind. I was like, I'm not going to smoke cigarettes. Like I'm not going to buy cigarettes ever. Like I'm done buying cigarettes. But if I smoke a cigarette like a couple times a week, it's just like I have to give this to myself. I love it so much. I honestly love it more.
If you love it that much, then it's fine.
I love it.
Yeah.
So like I was
it gives you more joy than it does bad. Then it's okay.
Well, I think life is about balance. But I was like, if I smoke 2 cigarettes a week and get cancer, I was like, I really had to think about it. I was like, I don't think I would regret it. I was like, I love it so much that I don't think I would regret it.
Ben, if you didn't smoke 2 cigarettes a week, you've got probably just as much chance of getting cancer.
I think that
it's not going to make that much difference.
It's true, but I mean, like it's like music. Like it's like this is a weird thing to talk about because I think that people shouldn't smoke. Kids, if you're listening,
cigarettes.
Yes,
sure.
but I love smoking cigarettes more Like, as much as I love playing guitar. As much as I love playing
guitar.
Tell
kids don't smoke. They can make up their own mind.
I love feel like smoking as much as I love playing guitar. It'd be like me telling me that I realize...
Kids don't play guitar. You know what?
So now I just had to give it to myself, but I think that it's been the best streak I've had, like the most healthy streak, because now that I've just told myself that, it's like, yeah, I don't buy cigarettes, but like I'll have them when I'm out, or if I'm occasionally. I don't know. It's just the balance thing. It's hard to find the balance that works for you, for everything, for every aspect of your life.
This kid, Luis, that I mentor. He's about 17 years old, and it's interesting. Suddenly working, like when you're working.
Is this Best Buddies?
A place called Home is an organization in South Central. We do it through them. They have a mentor.
Are you going down there?
Occasionally, not so much. I go to pick them up.
I never go down there.
To South Central?
No.
I haven't noticed anything funky down there. It seems fine, but I might be completely oblivious.
Yeah, it has bad reputation.
I think during the day it seems okay. I don't know. People have told me some stuff, but I haven't seen it. Again, people tell you a lot of things about a lot of stuff until you see it for yourself. It's hard to believe it. Mm-hmm. But my point is, I don't really want to tell him what to do. I try and be reasonable and give him straight answers about things, but I can't tell him not to drink or smoke weed or smoke cigarettes.
Right.
I did all of those things, and I figured out my place with them.
Right. That was the problem that I always had when I was going to church when I was younger, because there was all of these people. Every single person basically that was at the church. It wasn't like it was like in a poor white part of town. I grew up in like a trailer park on the outskirts of Tampa. Like it was like a really like these were people who were like former bikers and like former just like drug dealers and shit like that who like come to Jesus, you know what I mean? And all of these people are just like, don't have premarital sex, like don't do drugs, don't smoke, don't do all of this stuff, and you're just like, you did all of this stuff. Like you did this for decades. And it's easy for you to say that now, but just like, I'm not supposed to do any of that. Like it's just like, of course I'm going to do all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It would have been better, I'm saying, if they would have told me like, yes, I did these things and had an honest conversation about like the effect that it had on their lives. But they don't do that. That's not the approach that people have with people, kids.
I think my advice has been...
With your mentor, the kid, haven't you realized that like doing that, like just coming at them as a person is 100% the best way
again, I'm just making it up, but it seems to be correct to me. My advice has just been, cool, there's no rush to do any of that. It's not going anywhere. Yeah. When it feels like the right time for you to want to smoke weed, then do it. But don't feel pressured to do it because you're 17.
Never helps to rush anything. I feel like I've realized it just like never helps to rush anything.
Yeah.
In life, you should really just take your time with anything. If people like are looking, anybody who's having like problems with like relationships or anything, it's just like I feel like a lot of it goes back to like rushing. It's just like if you're patient at the beginning. It's just like you're gonna have a better chance of like meeting somebody who meets the things. But all of us, that all of us are just like, oh boy, I need something right now, and then we get into things that are not good.
Yeah, we've all done that.
It happens to everybody, but that's what I'm saying. It's just like if you're making music, also, it's just like I need to be patient. If I'm trying to crank out songs, they're not going to be good songs. Wait until you feel the right thing to do. You know what I mean?
So kindness and patience.
Kindness, patience. All of the cliches. When you get older, don't you realize that?
Of course, yeah.
That shit is all true.
I'm a cliche now, absolutely.
It's all true.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to leave it. That'll do. Thank you very much, Benjamin. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Mr. Booker. It was great to sit down with you, brother. I really always enjoy hanging out and shooting the shit with you or with him, ladies and gentlemen. It was fun to get down to brass tacks. Hey, so check out his record Witness. The title track I find very stirring. Actually, it gets me quite emotional. It's got really beautiful, strong gospel vibes. It features vocals from Mavis Staples. I really, really dig it. The other single, Believe, is also awesome. The record sounds excellent. The production's tight. They've done a superb job. So yes, Benjamin Booker, get on board, guys, girls, ladies. Hey, fucking hell, I gotta stop cracking myself up so much. I don't even think I'm even that funny, but look, at least I'm laughing, I suppose. My mum was always really, really good at laughing at her own jokes. I think it's something that I'm be growing into a little more as I get older. A new thing that I think I'm going to start doing is posting links in the blurb of the podcast. So if you scroll down, or I don't know, wherever you're getting this podcast from, but I'm going to include some links to some of the things we talked about in today's episode, so you can easily see what the hell we're going on about. But yes, we've got more podcasts coming. I reckon I'll have another one up within the next few weeks. Where between myself and my manager, we're locking everyone down. So plenty more coming. You just stay tuned. Thank you very much for listening. Take care. Till next time.